Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my podcast. I'm your host, Caroline Susko, and I'm so happy to be on this journey with you all as we navigate life together, grow as people, and shift towards a brighter mindset. This is On the Bright Side. Everyone, and welcome back. I hope you guys are having a great start to your morning or your day or whenever you're listening to this. I definitely feel like I'm going to release these in the morning continually and going forward just because I want to get you guys motivated and feeling good for the day you have ahead of you. Like, especially when you're lying in bed, getting ready, eating breakfast, or just driving, it helps to have some good vibes out there to put out for the morning and be ready for your day. Like, for me personally, when I listen to podcasts, I love listening to them when I wake up and I'm on my way to work. Because you're just like, okay, I'm surrounded by good vibes. I got this day. This is my day. Let's do this. And that's definitely something I want to have with my podcast because it's a good morning pick-me-up or a good winding down hour filled with positivity, depending on when you're listening again. So that's definitely what I want to do with this. So today's episode is going to focus on seeking positive self-validation. I think it's such an important lesson to learn and to know because we have to be comfortable with ourselves, in our own skin, in our own body, and love ourselves for who we are in every part of us because we really can't start loving other people until we love ourselves. And of course, it starts with us. So today may be a tough episode for some people, so I wanted to just give a warning, and that's totally okay because we all have body issues and it's really just part of life and we will all get through it. So it's okay if you can't listen to this episode. But I also think it's a very important talk that we all need to have in coming to terms with loving our body, giving it the fuel it needs when it needs it, and finding love in ourselves. And with this talk is going to come true feelings, my personal story, but it's also going to come motivation to love your body and all it gives you. But if you don't think this episode is for you, that's okay. You will get there. But for now, go enjoy your day, enjoy all the little things, and soak up all the good because you deserve it. So have a good day, and I will see you next week. But the people who are staying with me, before we get into this episode, let's take a minute and look on the bright side and get our heads in a grateful, open mindset. So today I went to my Nana and Papa's pool. Nana and Papa are two of my amazing grandparents. You'll hear a lot about them. They're a big part in my life. So remember Nana and Papa because they will be like your Nana and Papa by the end of this. But I love going there just because I don't have a pool anymore. When we moved, the pool obviously stayed with the house. So it's a nice place to go. And I was working on the pod today. I was reading a Colleen Hoover book. It was called All Your Perfects, All Your Perfects. It was a really good read. Ugly Love is definitely my favorite book from her, or It Ends With Us, but this one was pretty good. Such a good book. I literally stopped reading for such a long time, and then someone told me to read one of her books, and I fell right back in love with the reading. I've read like 9 of her books, so it's really awesome. If you haven't read those books, read them. And I also just loved being able to go swimming at the pool and tanning and laying, reading those books and just taking time for myself because in a week we all need to slow down and just take a minute for ourselves, take a day for ourselves. But with going to public pools or going swimming or going to the beach or whatever, we tend to view our bodies in a bathing suit differently or negatively, or just in the ways we compare ourselves to the people around us. I'm definitely guilty of comparing myself to the people I'm with when I'm with them. In my mind, I would like, oh, their body's amazing, or Caroline, like, why can't you look like that? I've always been super flat, so I was like, Caroline, you have like no shape to yourself, like what? And we'll first begin with my personal story and why I felt it was so hard to love myself. Because, of course, I know I'm not the only one who feels this way, even though, some days really may feel like it. There's days where I was like, oh, I just feel so alone. I feel so ugly. Like, of course no one likes me. Like, look at me. And it was so sad the way I was talking to myself. And I saw this TikTok the other day, and it was like, when you say these awful things about yourself like that, oh, you don't look good in this, or oh, you have too much weight, or oh, you can see this bone, or whatever. Like, you have to realize who you're saying it to. Like, your little 5-year-old self. Could you imagine just saying, like your biggest insecurity? Like, my biggest insecurity is my nose. Could you imagine me saying to my 5-year-old self, oh, your nose is so big. Like, can you imagine that poor little girl, like how she would feel if you said something to her, or like, oh, I hate the way my body looks, and like said to her, oh, I hate the way your body looks. Your 5-year-old self would be so upset. And that little smiley face that you have in photo albums or pictures of your little self would be so upset. And that's just where I got today's episode from. I was like, I definitely want to do this because that's so true. And I was thinking about my mindset, and I was like, the things I say to myself now, would I say them to my 5-year-old self? And no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't tell my 5-year-old self that I hate the way my nose looks or any other demeaning comments, because for the longest time I thought it was okay to talk to myself like that. And when it comes to my story, these comments were half my battle. So for me as a person, I've always been a skinny girl because of my high metabolism. It's genetic. My dad's had it. I've grown up with it. So this means that I really don't have much shape to my body per se. Like, my body's calories it holds burns off so much quicker in a resting period. So not many calories stay on my body. And again, it's just something I've had. And anyways, back to my story. I really just didn't like being in bikinis or bathing suits because I was always comparing myself. And I remember my mom took a picture of me on vacation or something, and you could see like the line of my rib on one side, or you could see like my shoulder bone, and it was something I always was self-conscious about, and I was like, that picture is going nowhere, like, no. And that was just me growing up, and that was me with my body, and just like everyone else, everyone had problems. But I got into social media in like middle school, and I feel like that's when it really started. Like, not to be the girl that says, oh, blame media for your problems, but I feel like media definitely had a part to do with the way I saw my body, because I saw everyone else on Instagram in a certain way. And the new popular trend was to have a big butt. That was one of the things boys considered hot then, and like still now. And I scrolled through social media, and the more girls I looked at, they were perfectly put together with perfect noses, perfect bodies, perfect everything. And it just always seemed like life was working out for them when they had that body. And so, of course, in my head, I was like, oh, I need to obtain this beauty. Like, how am I going to get to how that girl looks by myself? Because that seems to solve all her problems, her perfect body. And then I was like, maybe guys will like me more, or maybe I'll be liked better if I get X, Y, and Z fixed. Maybe I'll have a better chance with this guy. And for real though, if someone said that this was the code to loving yourself and being loved by others, like, of course we're going to try to get the butt or the perfect nose or the perfect waist, because who doesn't want to be perfect? And if that's the key to the so-called perfect life, like, why wouldn't I try? And I remember after I saw all this, I went on Snapchat and took pictures of myself from a bunch of different angles. I drew lines on the pictures of where my body should be. Like, I remember I drew another line where my butt should be, and I was like, here's the date today, and this is what you're going to start looking like from now on. You're going to get into more shape, so clothes look better on you, and so that you'll be a better interest to guys, and like, whatever. It already sounds stupid, but this was my thought, and this is what a lot of us think. And if someone said anything about me, I'd like automatically try to change it for them, not even myself. Like, the things I did half the time, like going from glasses to contacts and all that, I did that for people around me just to be liked, and that was a big problem of mine then. And of course at the time, because that body type was quote unquote the in body that like everyone yearned for, there were videos everywhere of how to get this body and what you should eat and how you should be working out and what you should be doing to obtaining this body. I remember going on Google and YouTube, and I was trying to find ways to get this ideal body. I was like, how can I get this perfect butt? How can I get boobs? How can I fix my nose? And I remember going on Amazon, and it was like a nose trainer or something, and it was like a brace for your nose to make it smaller. And I was like, oh, I need this, like anything for my nose, like I need it to be smaller. And then for my body, I was up on YouTube and Google, and it was like 100 squats a day, you need to eat flax seeds, fire hydrants, like, you know, the ones where your legs extend out or whatever, and you do that a bunch of times on each leg. And I would be lunging around my house being exhausted, like, just because my body was like, oh, Caroline, you need this, and my mind was like, Caroline, you need to be this person. I'd be lunging around my house, not because I wanted to, because I cared what other people thought. I'd be exhausted. And then it was like, oh, to get boobs, you have to eat flax seeds and try Luna bars. Don't even get me started on these Luna bars. I remember seeing these Luna bars on someone's YouTube video, and they were swearing by them. Like, of course they were probably sponsored Like Luna was probably sponsoring them for their video, but all I heard was like, they make your butt look bigger and it will make you bigger. And I was like, Mom, I need to get these. Like, this is my ticket to being liked by people. No, but once I think about it more and more, it was definitely just a girl sponsoring a video for a normal granola bar. But I ate that and I would plug my nose and chew them. And I would literally hate them. It was like a lemon flavor and I just hated lemons in general. And it actually makes me giggle that I really thought eating these would grow my butt every day, like a plant or something. And so I would just keep pounding these down. I was like, yup, Luna bars, like they are for me. And so I just kept eating them. My nose was also a big insecurity for me. I would look in the mirror because I hated the way my nose looked. And media just made me feel awful of the way my nose looked. And of course, another trend, TikTok trend came along and you colored the part of your nose black that you wanted gone. And then you would go in front of like a black screen, like a TV or something, and you would face your nose towards the screen. So then you would see like what you would look like if your nose was like that, because the black cut off the extra part of your nose because it blended in with the background of the TV. And so it would be like, oh, this is what you would look like with an ideal nose job. And I remember falling in love with this nose, friends, and I was like, this is what I need. And my friends were like, Caroline, no you don't, your nose is perfect the way you are, like stop it. And I was like, no, I hate it, I want a nose job. And I got to the point where I was so self-conscious with my nose, I would literally text my friends and ask why they were friends. I always tried to cope with humor instead of actually accepting it. I can't even remember what I would say about my nose, but my body would be like, oh, Miss Parallel Line, and I would draw 2 parallel lines and be like, oh, that's me. And can you imagine if you said that to anyone else, how offended they would be? And here I am telling myself that I look like a parallel line. I mean, don't get me wrong, like I'm flat, but if you ever drew 2 lines and told someone, oh, this is what you look like, that would be awful. And the fact that I was telling myself this and making fun of myself, like I was literally bullying myself. And then I was like, I would never make that comment to someone else, like that's awful. So why would I make that to myself? Like, why can't I believe I'm beautiful? Like, and when someone calls me pretty or gives me a compliment, like, why can't I believe it or why can't I take it? I remember even before this, I always had a negative view on the way my body looked. And this is making me really sad. Sad to even say it, sad to even think about this and that I did it. But in middle school, one day after school, I went home and I made a list that I hung up on my closet so no one could see it and it would just be hidden. And I remember I made this list because of a boy I had a crush on in middle school, and he liked all my friends, but he didn't like me, and I was so upset. And I remember like looking at all my friends and be like, oh, they all look like this, and she looks like that, and she looks like that. So I have to be like that in order for him to like me. So I made a list of how I viewed the girls he liked and tried to be just like them. And it breaks my heart that my little self did this, and it said, like, oh my gosh, this is so sad. And at the top, it said how to be beautiful. It was in blue marker. Like, I can remember this list in my head, like it's engraved in my head. And then it said how to get pretty. And it said, get rid of your glasses, get a butt, stop being so shy, don't make weird jokes, or something like that. And it had check boxes. So once I accomplished them, I would check it off. And then when they would all be checked off, I or quote unquote, would have been happy and hoped that he liked me because I would be this girl that he liked or whatever. And that just breaks my heart for my little precious angel of a self with the biggest smile and the cutest, oh my gosh, that I was willing to change every part of myself just for this boy to like me and just to be one of those pretty girls that everyone admired and loved because I just wanted to be liked. And I was like, oh, it's me. It's always me. And if I could go to little Caroline with the knowledge and mindset I have now, all I would want to do is give her such a big hug and tell her she's so beautiful for herself and her silliness and her glasses and her braces and her kindness and everything that makes up her, because that's what made her so special and beautiful, was her uniqueness and what she brought to the world inside, and it wasn't what was on the outside. And I loved myself with little glasses, and my poor little self was like, no more little Vera Bradley glasses, like that's not what pretty is, because that's what the media says, and that's obviously not true. And that's why being self-conscious starts at such young age, because we're exposed to the definition of beauty at such young age, and it subconsciously dictates how we see ourselves, because on Instagram and social media, we're only seeing people's best selves. We're not seeing that other side that's not shown on the screen. And it's so unhealthy to compare ourselves like that. And it's something everyone has to learn. And once we learn that, social media can become a better place and a better environment for ourselves. But on another note, I also want to talk about the idea that everyone feels self-conscious at one point or another, no matter who you are. And everyone tends to get a mean comment here or there based on their appearance, no matter who they are. Like the other day, one of America's most famous models posted a video on Instagram saying she wasn't feeling herself and she wasn't in a great mindset or headspace or something. And she did that to show that her life isn't as perfect as herself, along with others, make it seem to be. And even she got rude comments about her appearance and her body weight. And she's someone that so many people look up to for her beauty. So it really just goes to show, no matter who you are, your weight, your height, your size, anyone and everyone feels self-conscious and gets mean comments at one point or another.
And you just have to realize everyone goes through this and you're not alone. Like, my friends, they are all such beautiful angels, each in their own way, and it makes me so sad to hear their insecurities when they come to talk to me about it. And I wish I could just shake them until they realize how beautiful they are and how perfect they are in their own skin for themselves. There was this one time my friends and I were talking about a pool party that we were having in the next couple days. My friends were like, I'm not going to eat the entire day before. I don't want to look bloated. Or they would sit with their legs up on the wall. It would like make their stomachs look less bloated or something. I forget 100% what it was. But like, they already look beautiful, and it's just the media saying like, oh, this is what you have to be, this skinny to be beautiful. Like, that's so wrong. And like, these girls were already so perfect the way they were, and they wanted to just change just a little more each time. And it made me so sad, and it breaks my heart that people can't see their beauty the way I see their beauty through my eyes. Like, other girls will come up to me and be like, oh my gosh, this girl is so pretty. And that girl will come up to me and be like, oh my gosh, I hate myself. Like, I don't like the way I look. And I just wish, like, people could see from other perspectives how beautiful they are. And everyone's always trying to just change for someone. Like I was. And like, one of my friends, she's like 5'10", so she's always been a tall girl. And people would say to her, like, bend down, move your head down, because like they couldn't see in front of her, or she was just too tall. And she would literally, so she would bend down and be like, oh, I'm so sorry. And she literally trained herself to always be bent. And she was telling me this, and she was like, now I have a bad posture because I always just crouched down because I didn't want to be like this tall girl that everyone made fun of. So many people would do so much to be that tall and beautiful, but people took that away from her, which is so sad. And that happens to so many of us. Everyone wants to be that tall. Everyone wants that. And it makes me sad, like, that when someone has it, they don't want it anymore because someone bullies them for some way and are like, oh, no, they make it feeling as an insecurity. Like, even mothers, they get so upset about their skin and, like, their marks on their stomach. And I'm like, you just brought life to this world. Like, show off all those lines. Show off that you just brought a human into the world. Like, don't hide that. Like, it's such an amazing miracle. And same for, like, wrinkles. Each wrinkle tells a story of your life and everything you went through and everything you learned and everything you did and do. So just embrace them and let them be a part of your story. Because I can guarantee those wrinkles came from hard work, stress that brought you to where you are today in success, or from helping people. So let that beauty be a part of your story you tell and that others see. And we should be embracing this beauty not only within ourselves, but the people around us. We live once, and we should be on this earth to lift people up and help people be the best they can and feel comfortable in their own skin. Like, we were all made to be different, to be unique. It would be boring if everyone was the same. And why go changing the unique stuff about you to just be like everyone else? So when you're thinking a compliment, give it out, because we want people to know their worth and the beauty we see not only within them, but on the outside. And with that, it'll make the world just a little bit more positive. And when you're complimenting someone, compliment them on their present self and not their past self. Because sometimes people idolize a past version of themselves when it comes to their bodies. And then with those comments, it makes us want to focus on someone else we were before, where we weren't getting made fun of or when we looked better. And it just makes us want to focus on a prior self when you really don't remember that full person you were back then. Yeah, maybe you felt better in front of a mirror, but how was your mind, and how did you treat yourself, and how was your energy when you were forcing yourself to be that person? Like, was your mind happy?
Was your tummy full? Were you in a good mindset? And is that really what you want to obtain again? Do you want to go all through that just for that? And our bodies a year ago are not the same as they are today. Like, we have so much changing in ourselves and so much growing. It's literally scientifically impossible for some people to go back to what they were because, again, our bodies are growing, our bodies are changing. People I know just love to embrace someone they used to be. One of my friends did that, and they would show me a picture of them 2 years ago, like on Snapchat or something. And it was a picture of them, and yeah, like they were super fit, and they were like, oh, this is what I want to look like again. And I was like, but were you happy? Were you in a healthy state doing this for yourself, or were you doing it for the people around you? And they took a second and they were like, actually, I had a horrible relationship with food. And that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Like, if you look back on a person who used to be, think about how you felt in that moment before you wanted to do that and be that person again, because your happiness and mindset is so much more important, and the way you treat people, what you do in life, and just being silly and being fun and being young. And it's so much more important than what you look like. And that's what people are going to remember you for. And that was with me too. I always wanted to be a younger version of myself. And then I realized, I was like, oh, but I wasn't happy. Like, I may have looked happy, but I wasn't. I remember how negative my mindset was and how exhausting it was to keep up with that self. And that's what a lot of people forget to realize, that with our old self comes old habits and old negative mindsets. My friend Karen, she was texting me the other day. She likes to direct message me cute quotes and pictures. And she texted me a picture without even knowing that this was my podcast topic. And it said, in the end, we won't remember the most beautiful face and body. We'll remember the most beautiful heart and soul. And I was like, that is so true. Like, if you took a moment right now to think of someone from high school or something, I can guarantee the first thing that comes to your mind was their qualities and how they treated you, and not their appearance and what they looked like. And that's how you'll be remembered as a person, which is so, so true. Like, a number doesn't define you or the way you look. What defines you is how you treat people and the way you make them feel. And then the other day when I was reading that book by Colleen Hoover, there was this quote and I loved it. Let me read it because it just works perfect. It says, don't be so hard on yourself. When you meet someone that's good for you, they won't fill you with insecurities by focusing on your flaws. They'll fill you with inspiration because they'll focus on all the best parts of you. And I was like, that's exactly it. Like, why would I want to go change my body or myself to fit random guys' wants and needs? Like, I know that the people who love me will love me for me and my nose and my body and my silliness and my happiness. So why would I try to change myself and change who I was when the people for me are out there loving every part of me and everything I have to offer? The person is out there for you, and you may never find your person. You may find the wrong person because you're trying to change for them, when the right person who loves you for you is out there waiting for you. And it's just missed opportunities because you're out there trying to be someone else that you're not. And I realized, like, why am I complaining over my body? My body that does so, so much for me. The body that does so much for all of us. Like, why am I complaining about my nose? It lets me smell yummy foods and lets me smell my favorite candles. Or why am I complaining about my long legs that allow me to walk and get me to places and allow me to experience new things and go to new places? Or my eyes, like, they let me see all the wonderful things that the world has to offer. Or my tummy that lets me feel full and makes me keep going in the day and keeps me going. And I realized I needed to focus on how lucky I was that I have a well-functioning body that allowed me to do so many wonderful things, and that many people don't have this luxury of having a well-functioning body, and we all take it for granted so much, and we don't realize how lucky we are to be having the things. So why are we complaining about the things that other people yearn for? Like, why are we complaining about our noses when some people can't smell anymore? Like, why are we complaining about our legs when some people lost their leg? Like, be grateful that you have all these things and you're lucky to have them and that you're blessed with them. And then even if you do go switch something about your body, take weight off your stomach or whatever, the list will always go on of what you can do. Like, just say you get the ab line you wanted, and then you're just going to want the next thing. You're going to be like, well, if I got the ab line, then I can definitely get a better butt. Or, well, I just lost 5 pounds, so I can definitely lose 5 more to look even better. And it's just a domino effect cycle. Like, you're never going to be happy with where you are, with who you are as a person, because you're always going to think you contain something better and get a better looking version of yourself. And people just never stop to realize how beautiful they are right now and to just be happy with themselves and where they are. And that's why we all need to stop where we are right now and stop wanting more and stop wanting to be a different person, because we have to appreciate the beautiful people we are now and the lovely people we are and everything we have to offer and what's on the inside and not just the outside, and who we are as people and how we treat people. And we have to start realizing our beauty within ourselves, like the way other people do. Someone gives you a compliment, don't deny it, take it, because they really and truly mean it and they want you to see it and you need to see it. And that's the first step with finding love in yourself, is taking these compliments and realizing like, oh, they just give me a compliment. I know they mean it. Like, hey, I'm beautiful and I deserve that. Like, and treat yourself in the ways you treat others. Like, look in the mirror and smile at your body and tell your body and yourself in the mirror how much you love yourself, because it really does make a difference. And once you start talking up to yourself, you realize like, okay, like this is me and I love myself and I'm unique and I'm going to embrace it because I love my stomach. I love my nose. And thank you for all that you do for me. And we should be grateful for our full tummies and that we have food to eat. And we should be grateful that we have that extra little tummy on us, because it's helping us in the day to get through our day and to be nourished and healthy and to feel good. And it's so important to have food in you, and we're lucky to have it. And then finally, listen to what your body's telling you to do. Like, if you're hungry, go eat a snack. If you're not hungry, don't keep eating. It's an intuitive eating, and working out is so important. And you work out when you feel like it. Don't make a schedule and bind yourself to it just because today you're supposed to be doing legs and arms or whatever. When you're exhausted, like, take a break if you need that break. That's also with eating too. Like, eat when you want, eat the yummy foods when you want to eat the yummy foods. And just, it's all about balance. You deserve every kind of food. You don't just have to eat healthy always. Like, reward your body. Like, these sugary foods are out here for a reason. Let's have them, taste them, eat them. And I remember, like, on Fitbits and Apple Watches and stuff, it would say, like, complete your ring for exercise today. And people, like, including me, I was like, I need to finish this ring. Like, okay, let me go walk a little more or do something. And you just felt inclined to finish it when you don't need to. And that's another thing. Don't finish the ring if you're done working out. Don't feel the need to go finish the ring just because it's saying you're not finished. You're finished. You're done. Your body tells you when you're done. And you do that. And just listen to your body, reward yourself, and love yourself for who you are, because everyone is different and unique in their own ways, and that's what makes this world so special and what makes every one of you so special. And that is definitely one way to self-love, if I ever said it. With that, I think I have talked enough for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I would love to hear feedback. My socials will be down below. And next episode, one of my best friends joins me on the pods. And if there's anyone that knows how to make someone laugh or put a smile on someone's face, it's her. So come ready to get a radiating smile on your face with the next episode. That episode will definitely be a lot more lighter, filled with a lot of positive vibes. So get excited. Until then, I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, stay looking on the bright side. See you guys next time. Love you.